Hello, everybody. Halcrax here, and welcome to another Mercenary Thoughts from the Inner Sphere, episode 343. Today, we're going to talk about the Myrmidon Medium Tank, 40-ton tank. It's a 5.8 mover. It's pretty decent for what it brings to the table. It is pretty common. I've seen it in quite a few games that we played over the years. The Myrmidon, it's got a fusion engine, so it's got 10 heat sinks. It comes with a good amount of armor. It had 9 tons. Yes, a 40-ton tank with 9 tons of armor. So 144 points. So roughly 35 out the front, 25 on the sides, 24 rear, and 35 in the turret. Actually, 35 in the turret is probably overkill. Most of the time, every time I've ever seen a Myrmidon kill, it's either from the side or the front. So, yeah, that's a little bit, unless you're fighting in battle positions where they can be a haul down, it's pretty much overkill. But the weapon systems on board for this little tank, 40-tonner, is a PPC, standard PPC, and a SRM-6 with a ton of ammo in the turret. All right, so output's not bad. You got a 5.8 mover. I like to use these in conjunction like with hunters or strikers. So you get a little bit of firepower downrange. It's a nice little support vehicle. Definitely don't want to get stuck in, because getting any closer than 3 than the PPC is going to have some problems with minimum ranges, since it's a standard PPC, because you only got 10 heat sinks. But hey, if you got 10 heat sinks free with the fusion engine, why not put a PPC on board? Or at least a large laser to use up some of those heat sinks that come with it. So, there's that. Then with the SRM-6, you do have a little bit of option of, you do get in close. At least you got a little damage output out to the front, with the turret there. So, yeah, it's not too bad. And being a 5.8, you can get around. You're pretty mobile. To get into different areas, it's kind of like a cavalry mech. It's not a fast-moving vehicle by any means, but being 5.8 in your standard succession war style, yeah, it gets the job done. So there's that. All right. The only drawback I ever see with this is if you're playing a combined arms game with infantry, yeah, this one's where it starts suffering, because you got nothing to take care of infantry, which in some ways I would think, maybe, possibly, depending on the area, if you had access to ferrofibrous armor, then maybe run a little bit less armor and toss at least a machine gun on board. Take some armor off of it and give it a machine gun. You don't hear me say that very often, but I'd rather have something that can take care of infantry, at least with a machine gun. And I have a problem having a machine gun on a vehicle. Now, you got to have something to take care of the little crunchers that are running around out there. So that's one of the major drawbacks I find with this vehicle, is that you got something getting close. You got the little foot sloggers rolling around. You got to have something to take care of it. And throwing a SRM-6 at them isn't what I would consider getting the job done. You're going to knock a few out with it, but you're going to not do the same as having a machine gun, or a flamer for that matter. You got the heat sinks. All right, so that brings up another thing. If you really wanted to mess around with this, you could knock off the PPC. Yeah, you're losing 3 range for 2 points, but you could give yourself a large laser, take those 2 tons and give it a half ton of ammo and maybe 3 machine guns. That's still 33 turns worth of shooting, which is more than adequate for shooting a machine gun in the game. So there's that, instead of knocking off some armor. So there's that option right there. So that's something I would consider. But pretty much how I ever use these things is moving up the flanks, sitting back with it while you run in conjunction with your mechs. It does come in a bit as what, 815 for your battle value. So it is up there in the category of a lot of the lighter mechs. So you have to really consider, I'm going to take this thing or not. So that is something to think about. So you would be sitting, it's like, do I want to take a couple of these or a lance of these? And then you're like, it's a kind of a head scratcher. But the best way to use these is just stay back, run around the flanks. You get your mechs are going to kind of get stuck in, and these guys are going to sit back and just bang away with those PPCs and doing their damage. And if you do attract some attention, that might be that they're not attracting attention. That it's like, maybe your mechs are not going to get hit as much. They might just like decide to shoot at these vehicles. And, with a good amount of armor on board, 35 isn't to be sneezed at on the front slope. So it's going to take a few hits to do anything, unless about the only thing you could really hope for when you hit them is start doing motive hits, slowing them down or something of that nature, so they're not getting those mods. Then, because being a 5.8, you're typically going to have a 2 or 3 mod on board these, just moving around. And our last game we got going on, it's like we got some guys running around with 1 or 2 pilots, gunnery pilots in these things, and they're just beating the heck out of us with them. So there's that. So if you want to pay the points for them, sure, you can go that route. Now, there's a few other versions of this, which I'm not really, well, there's the Type 2 version. All right, this is during the Jihad. They put the XL engines on board. Okay, so you got a light fusion, not XL, but a light fusion engine on board. And to replace the PPC with a plasma rifle. Okay, so you are just a little bit less damage. It's like you're getting with 3 tons of ammo. So you're getting right back to looking at the same as the large laser. So there's that. So you have to think about, is that something you want to work with? Plasma rifles are kind of nice. I do like the plasma rifle. It's a handy dandy little weapon system. So there's multiple ways of dealing with things, and you're also doing some little bit extra with the plasma rifle, that going that route. So the other thing is it carries, I've never seen these, is mine launchers. I've never seen a mine launcher in the game before. I've read about them, but I've just never seen one ever being used. So, things you go, do I want to think about using those? Like, maybe, I don't know. So, maybe just going with the standard, oh, darn, pop-up just came up. The keeping it similar to the original design, maybe with the SRMs instead of the mine launchers. That's a interesting question, and this comes in a little bit higher. It's almost 1,000 battle value. So, yeah, you're using a little bit more equipment, but yeah, the things you make, you go, I don't know. Does that make a lot of sense? I don't know. But, with the plasma rifle, at least you're adding some heat, when you're going to punch somebody out, with the weapon system. Yeah, you get some damage in, you're going to be doing some heat damage, so, or possibly raising the heat. That's the interesting thing about those things, which makes them kind of useful against vehicles if they don't have the heat sinks on board. They handle the heat. So you're going to start causing crits, that type of problem. And then there's the Myrmidon anti-infantry version. Okay, this one has an ER large laser, has 3 light machine guns and ferrofibrous armor on board. Comes in at 750 battle value. And this one basically kind of downgrades the, well, you're going from a PPC to a large laser, saving 2 tons, but you got to use 2 tons for the heatsink. So it's kind of a wash right there. But yeah, if you knock off, you use the ferrofibrous armor, you save about a half ton, and then you turn around and knock a half ton off, then you are able to put on some light machine guns on board to at least take care of the, you know, they're not as good per se as your standard machine gun for taking on infantry, but you got 3 of them, and you know, it's a machine gun array, so that does the job. You know, that fills that role that I was saying is missing in the standard Myrmidon, is that something to handle infantry. Because if you do any type of combined arms and you're suddenly looking at, oh gee, there's a couple companies worth of infantry out there, and all we got is energy weapons, and nothing to take care of these infantry, it's going to be a long game where the infantry are like, yeah, we got the advantage because you can only kill a few of us at a time, and we're going to do a lot more damage to you than you can do to us if you get within range. So there's that. Especially if they're in a type of battle position or anything, which kind of downgrades the amount of damage you're going to do in the first place. So there's that. All right, so that's the Myrmidon. In a nutshell, not a bad little vehicle. I'd say it's very useful for throwing into those combined arm type of games. If you're throwing into some mechs, it's good for, well, if you think about it in the terms of Succession Wars, a 5.8 moving vehicle or even mech in the Succession Wars is pretty fast. So there's that. All right, so that's it. That's the Myrmidon in a nutshell. Useful? I'd say yes. All right, so that's it. This is Hellcrix. Hope you guys have a good one. Hellcrix out.